Now, I told you guys when this roster first formed, they could certainly be the best French team. I am certainly rooting for them. Before I get into the Angry Jake segment of this entire video, guys, I believe in this roster. I really do. Will they make a change or two in the future based off the former French teams out there? I would think so. But are they currently the best French team? Could be debated between them and LDLC, coming off LDLC's run at IEM Chicago. Some very important wins over there. I believe in this team, but please do me a favor. Do not overhype them based off this DreamHack Atlanta victory. There was not many good teams there, although I thought with this field, especially Vitality, we have seen two things from them, the first of which has been a struggle in best of ones in their closed minor appearances so far. They have actually not qualified for the closed qualifier to qualify for the minor yet. They are actually only 2 European spots left. They have had 3 pretty good runs so far. They've proven themselves not very capable in best of ones, and of course also online, which is not saying much, right? Online qualifiers for the closed qualifier is still a pretty debatable subject out there. The second of which, guys, well, they've only been together for 2.5 months, so we really don't know too much about them, but they can definitely run the table on North American teams, which I am certainly impressed by. But with this field, and of course the history we've seen so far with this team being together for only less than 90 days so far, I really thought the North American field here could actually pull off some upsets. I did not think LG would do as well as they did. I really thought Complexity or Ghost Gaming could certainly upset some teams. Ghost Gaming a pretty poor performance themselves with a close comeback series with LG. Nonetheless though, guys, a victory for Vitality, but please do me a favor, do not overhype this team. Let's really look at the actual history of these guys and understand that this might have been a fluke, this might have been a miracle. We're going to find out sometime shortly if these guys can truly play on LAN. Quick shout out to, of course, MBK and Zaiwu. Those guys had an amazing tournament, all tournament long as well. They looked amazing, and for what they could have done, Vitality did the utmost best that they absolutely could. They could not have won, in my opinion, in any better fashion. Only one team brought them to map 3, that was actually Complexity, and that series was not even close. So for what they could have done, I think they did exactly what they could have done to the absolute extreme, but do not miscount this victory as some sort of false hope. This is now a major contending team. They have yet to qualify for the closed qualifier, for the minor, for the major qualifier, for the major. They are way off where they could be, although this is actually a really great performance. We have yet to see what Vitality can truly do. And just to put this in perspective, yes, they've only been together for 2.5 months. What they've done so far has been pretty substantial. I want them to actually qualify for more tournaments before they can actually prove themselves. But you look at the history of the roster, guys, just to put it into exact context as to where this team could go, if they could fall off, if they, a lot of things can happen here. First of all, MBK and Apex, look at the history, guys. Their last LAN event victory, September of 2017. Yes, that is actually 14 months ago, DreamHack Malmo with the G2 roster. Then also on top of that, guys, you look at Happy alongside RPK, their last victory, even farther back, July of 2017, not this DreamHack Atlanta, but the last DreamHack Atlanta, 16 months ago. One victory for those two in 16 months, one victory for the other two in 14 months, and they have now finally won this event together. And then you look at the results as well. And again, I like this team. I'm just saying, all the people out there who overhype these guys, they are looking solid, but they have yet to play anyone of significance, in my opinion. Complexity has certainly fallen off after the major. When you look at this field as well, the only top 15 team at this event besides Vitality was Complexity at the number 15 spot. And like I said before, we have certainly seen them struggle ever since their short major run. Now, on top of that, you look at the teams they did beat, they did so very dominantly, and that's why it's kind of the worst of both worlds here. We see them do very well, but it's at an event where there was not too much talent, and so it takes away from that victory for sure. And on top of that, a lot of these teams were actually undergoing a lot of their issues. I said Complexity themselves, one of the teams they beat in a best of 3. We'll talk about them in a second. Their first 2 victories, though, in group play was actually against Fragsters, actually against Rogue as well. Rogue experiencing a brand new IGL. Them, a lot like Complexity, are certainly struggling ever since their departure from the major. And MSL, of course, a new IGL. That's a pretty important role there. One of their first events, I believe their first event back with him. On top of that, Fragsters had no Bubsky. One of their members actually, unfortunately, could not make the event. HS stood in for the team. Of course, a new player with that lineup, certainly going to struggle there. Then you go to playoffs, guys. They play against Complexity, the only team to bring them to a map 3, a dominant series. And then the grand finals, guys, a lot like IEM Chicago, very anticlimactic. It was not very fun to watch. I tuned in for maybe half an hour. It was against LG. LG had a very solid run themselves ever since relegation from ECS as well as EPL. I was not expecting these guys to show up. Obviously pretty angry about Envious kicking them to auto relegation. They beat Envious. They beat Ghost Gaming in a very close series. In the finals though, it was all vitality. All Zai. If you guys have seen all the clips out there, absolutely amazing what these guys did. I really don't mean to have the Angry Jake segment be about them. It's tough because I enjoy the team. They looked very good here, but please do me a favor, do not overhype these guys. They beat one team inside the top 15. They are not yet a major contending team. They have yet to face off against anyone of significance, and I cannot wait to see them do so. You got to remember, guys, these guys have not yet qualified even for the closed qualifier. They've lost in best of ones to a lot of random teams out there, a lot of random mixes. Yes, it was online play. These guys, in my book, though, have a lot left to prove. And what does that say, though, about one thing? What does that say about North American CS? We are struggling.